Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Ben with Irritable Gardens. Today I have a nice one for you. Today's video is about rooting tiny cuttings in Ziploc bag. There are some size of thick cuttings that you might have. It might be too small, too tiny for you to root it. Instead of throwing it away, you can just root it in Ziploc bag. And that is the experience I had. That's the experience I have. I ordered for fig cuttings, and the seller decided to add some tiny cuttings as free gift. And when I received the cuttings and I saw the tiny cuttings, I just laughed. I said, why will the seller send me these tiny cuttings? They are so tiny that I don't want to give myself stress trying to root them. So, as I was about to throw the cuttings away, it occurred to me that why don't I try to root them in water? So I tried to root it in water. It wasn't doing good in water, so I decided to transfer it from water. Let me try Ziploc bag. And boy, oh boy, I'm telling you, I got success rooting these tiny cuttings in Ziploc bag. Let me show you guys. Well, I want to show you guys the cuttings that I'm rooting in Ziploc bag. I ordered for 2 cuttings online, which is Genovese Bianco. Genovese Bianco cutting. I ordered for 2. And I received the cuttings on 24th of December of last year. Today is January 19th. So, when I received the cuttings, I opened it up and I saw the 2 cuttings with too many little cuttings. And the first thing that came to my mind was to throw those cuttings away. I know that the seller added it as free cuttings, but they were so little, so small, that I said, let me just throw them away. But as I was trying to throw it away, there was a thought that came to my mind. Why don't you just leave it in water and see if they will root? So I put the cuttings in water. For more than 1 week, there was no sign of root. So I took those cuttings. I said, these cuttings, I don't think they will root in water. So let me try Ziploc bag. So let me show you guys. It's just 3 weeks and maybe 3 weeks, 2 days now since I got these cuttings. And the cuttings, they were in water for close to 2 weeks, almost 2 weeks, before I removed it from the water and put it in a Ziploc bag. Now let me show you. Look at the You can see the you can see the Ziploc bag. Now, let me bring out the cuttings and see what I am talking about. Now you can see the cuttings. This is a different cutting. But all this, you can see how skinny, tiny that these cuttings are. And all I wanted to do was to throw them away. You can see. Now, they've been in Ziploc bag for more than 1 week. It's going close to 2 weeks. In 5 days' time, it will be 1 month that I got the cuttings. You can see. Now, the bottom part is moist with toilet paper. I put it at the bottom. You can see sign that because of the if you look at the Ziploc bag, you can see there's a little bit too wet because of the moisture in the bag. Now, look at this one. It's opening up. There is no, look at that, root. Less than 2 weeks in Ziploc bag, it has started rooting. Almost the same time that it was in the water. Look at root. It's opening up. But in water, the cutting was not doing good. Now look at that. It has started forming roots. It has started forming roots. Not up to 2 weeks. Now this one, I just put this one yesterday. And this is Pan E Vino Dak. I prune my Pan E Vino Dak tree. I send the cuttings out, and this will one of the cuttings was very long, so I cut this off. So I wanted to throw it away, so I put it in water. There was nothing happening, so yesterday I added it to the cuttings in a Ziploc bag. Now the other ones have not started yet because they are more smaller, skinner or thinner, but you can see there is life at the tip now. Before putting it in Ziploc bag, there was no life. It's not up to 2 weeks yet, but it's getting there. In 5 days, it will be 2 weeks. It looks like, can you see? It looks like there's a root trying to pop up from there. So far, this is the only one that is producing root. You can see the root there. So I'm still going to leave it until they all produce long roots before taking them out of the Ziploc bag. So I will keep you guys posted on the progress of these tiny cuttings. 10 days ago, I made a video of these tiny cuttings that I'm rooting in this Ziploc bag 10 days ago. Now I want to show you guys to see the progress of these tiny cuttings. So I have to be careful. This one just started forming roots, but you can see leaves, but no root yet. Well, not that there's no root, there is, but it's still forming or still growing, but it's not out of the tissue paper yet. You can see no root yet on this one. Root. And look at the leaves. So this has one root that has come out of the tissue paper, but you still see others that are still within the tissue paper. But this one has pierced through the tissue paper. So I have to be careful with that root. This one has no root yet. And this one was the one I put in last. Pan E Vinodac. But you can see it's bringing out new growth. But no root yet. There's a little bit of root, but it's still inside the tissue paper. No new growth. This one, a little bit of root right there. You can see new growth. Another new growth there. Look at that. And these roots they've come through the tissue paper. And look at the growth. So being careful with the roots. You don't want to mess up the roots. So I'm being careful here. No root yet. But there is new growth. And now let me show you this one here. Look at roots. Two roots, and look at this long root. Look at another long root here. There's one root, And that's the same root, this long one here. Look at that. So what I'm going to do is, in these three that have roots, I'm going to put them in container with water to help them, to help the roots to grow more, and then try to remove the tissue paper. So I want it to be real soaked. So when I'm tearing off the tissue paper, it will not affect the roots. So these ones, they are going back into the Ziploc bag, while this one, I'm going to leave them in water, let them continue growing, and I will try to remove the tissue paper as gentle as possible. January 30th, I removed these tiny cuttings from the Ziploc bag that I started rooting these cuttings with. And this cutting here was the cutting with the longest root when I brought it out of the Ziploc bag, followed by this one, and then this one in length. That's the root length. Now let me show you this. And you might be wondering that how come the root is not that long. Today is February 19th. It was very long. If you look at it, you can see there's still a little bit of tissue paper at the bottom of the root. You can see it right there at the bottom of it. What happened was that the longest root that you saw when I brought it out grew very, very long with branches of roots from that single root. But what happened? I brought it out of the water, trying to remove this small portion of the tissue paper still remaining, and I decided to glue the tissue paper. As I blew the tissue paper, the long root just cut off. Man, it was very painful. Very painful because the root was very long, with branches of roots from that single root. So that was what happened. You can see new roots that are coming out. New roots. These new roots that are coming out after the long root cut. This root is part of the root that came out of the Ziploc bag, and you can see that there's still a little bit portion of the tissue paper. That's why it's foggy at the bottom there. You can see it's foggy. It's because of the remaining tissue paper. And that's one disadvantage. Except that's one of the disadvantages when you root cuttings in Ziploc bag with tissue paper. Removing the tissue paper can be difficult most of the times, except if you want to root the cutting, if you want to uproot it with the tissue paper into the soil. But this is it. So you have to be careful because the root is very delicate. It's tiny or skinny, not as thick as when you root cutting in the soil. So you have to be careful when taking them out of water or when putting them back. Now let me show you this one here. Look at the root. You can still see a little bit of tissue paper there. That's why that area there is foggy. You can see that the tissue paper is still covering that root. And I don't want to mess it up because look at the other roots there. So I'm going to root it with the remaining tissue paper. Look at, well, that leaf, you see, that's an old leaf that dried up. And that's why I want to uprooot it now, because the longer it remains in the water, the more of the nutrient in these tiny cuttings that the leaf will outuse it, and it might die. So now I'm going to uproot this one. So I have to be careful not to mess up the root. It's very delicate. Now this one was the cutting with the second longest root. Now let me show you this one right here. Ooh, I can feel the root being pulled. Oh my goodness. Oh, I didn't. Oh, you see that? I knew it. I just lost those roots. I knew it. Because something pulled. And that's why it's good to use cups that are smooth. You see? I just lost. Oh my goodness, this is painful. And look at this root. Oh my goodness, this is painful. This is why it's not good when you are rooting cuttings and you take them out of the water from time to time. You have to be careful. You have to be careful. Just look at this. This is wonderful. Look at that. Oh my goodness. I'm not going to put it back in. I'll just leave it here, and I'm going to uproot this too. I'm going to uproot it now. Oh my goodness. And look at the root that just broke off. And that's why you have to be careful when you are rooting cuttings in water. It's easy to lose roots. And also, you see, this container here is not smooth. As I was pulling it out, something pulled that cutting back, and it just broke. Now, I'm going to use this cup for this one here, and then I will use this cup to uproot the one with the more roots. Now, this cutting or this variety has two names. It's either you call it Genovese Bianco or you call it Vesubio Bianco. It's the same fig called Genovese Bianco, and it's also called Vesubio Bianco. So I still have the bigger cuttings that I'm rooting in soil or in rooting in soil. So I named those ones Genovese Bianco, so I'm naming these ones Vesubio Bianco. Today is 19th, so I'm going to uproot them today. And I'm going to pause the video, and then I will show you after I've uprooted the cuttings. But I'm not going to uproot this today. I'm going to leave it for it to grow more roots. before I will upport it. Yeah, now I've uppotted the rooted cutting in the soil. See, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep these cuttings in this room without any light on it right now, so I can keep using the room temperature that it has been using even while in the water. And then, because this time these cuttings are going through what we call a shocking period, because we've taken them out of their comfort zone. It has been okay with them in the water. They've loved it there, and that was why they grew roots and leaves while in the water. But now, taking them out of the water and putting them in soil is a new environment for them. So they will receive a shock because this is a new environment that they are not used to. So they will have to adapt to this new environment, which is not easy for them. It's just like when you move to a new area, it will be different because now you have new neighbors that you don't know what kind of neighbors they are, if they're going to be friendly or not. So it will take you a while to get to know your neighbors. Your neighbor on your right, your neighbor on your left, if possible, your neighbor behind you. So it will take you a while to get to know them. And that is the same process these rooted cuttings will go through. And that is why it is called a shocking period for them. So I'll let them stay here for a while. And then when they start bringing out roots through the soil, if I start seeing the roots through the soil, then I know that it's time for me to put them under the light so that they can enjoy the light for photosynthesis. And then I will start giving them soluble fertilizer, a very light soluble fertilizer, because then they will need food, because all the nutrients in the cuttings, they might have outused them. They must have finished using the nutrients in this cutting. So you have to start feeding them with soluble fertilizer, a light one for a while. Then when you see it growing and growing, gets to the point where you give them the full dose of the soluble fertilizer. And you will need a soluble fertilizer that has more nitrogen, the NPK. The N of the NPK will have the highest number of out of the NPK numbers. So this is it. I'm glad that I'm able to root these tiny cuttings in Ziploc bag, and now I've uppotted these cuttings. This is wonderful. I'm happy for the success of rooting the cuttings in Ziploc bag. Well, who would think that rooting tiny cuttings in Ziploc bag will work out well? I can't wait for these cuttings to start growing more and more and produce fruits. You know, this is wonderful. This is amazing. This is success. Tiny cuttings that I would have thrown away. But now I'm looking forward to these same tiny rooted cuttings to grow and to produce fruit. In fact, I'm hoping that they will produce fruit this year. I'm looking forward to that. Well, I want to thank you for watching this video. Thank you for sharing your precious time with me, watching my video. Uh, if this video has inspired you, if this video has encouraged you, please like this video. And if you've not subscribed to my channel, please subscribe to my channel. Click on the notification bell and click on all, so that every video I will upload, you'll be notified. I have more videos on my channel that will inspire you, that will encourage you, that you will like, that you can even share with friends, family members, neighbors, your gardening partners, to encourage them, to inspire them. This is what this channel is all about. Is to inspire others, just as I have been inspired by other people. And that is my desire, to inspire other people. Encourage other gardeners that things can be done successfully. You can achieve things. And for my subscribers, you all are wonderful. I appreciate you, my subscribers. And I will see you guys in the next video. Thank you, and God bless you.